is up? What is up? What is up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to let people get in here and then we are going to get active. So bear with me. And we're going to get into this. We're going to get into some interesting topics today, some fun things today. Have a good time, you know? Have a good time. How y'all feeling this morning? How's it going? Good morning. Did you get some good sleep? Did you get some good sleep? It is early in the wee hours of the morning. For me, I feel like it's like noon, right? Because I get up every day, 3 a.m. But I do realize that we got to give people a little bit of time. So I will say I have not found a name for the show, guys. Like usually, so like I have like a hidden ability, right? I make amazing nicknames. You know, even when you look throughout the channel, right? You have the InScentive Collection, you have the Accord, gosh, what else? Guess the Note, Let It Float, fresh ones. Like I'm great at coming up with names, but I just cannot seem to wrestle down a name for the live streams in the morning. So I'm working on that. But I'm getting blanks, which is unusual. Usually it just comes to me, you know, but I'm just getting emptiness. I don't know what's going on. So we'll figure it out. We'll get to it. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep saying the Tuesday, Thursday live streams because whatever name I pick is more than likely going to stick. So I just want to make sure it's something that I really do like. All right. Something that I really do like. So that's the big part with that. All right. So we got 10 people in here. Let's go ahead and get into some of these topics today. So, let me pull up my stuff here. We're going to dive into this. We're just going to keep it rolling today. Put some fresh emojis in the chat, right? Put some fresh emojis in the chat. All right, so let's get into the first topic this morning. All right, let's get into the first topic this morning. What, in you all's opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion, but what do you guys think makes a fragrance smell luxurious? Okay, because there's a difference between fragrances that are, I mean, you know, you have gym fragrances, you have, you know, date fragrances, you have all these different type of fragrances. I want to know, what do you guys think makes a fragrance smell luxurious, right? Okay, so for me, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. So for me, what makes a fragrance smell luxurious, I would have to say it's definitely going to be iris. I think iris is just a beautiful, when it's done right. When it's not done well, it lacks complexity, so it's kind of harsh. But when it's done right, I think it's more unisex, right? I think when it's done poorly, it's mostly for a woman. But when it's done like perfectly well, I think it becomes unisex, right? And it's a telltale trait of a great note is what it smells like at the height of its ability. And so I do believe that that is one of them. Another one for me is going to be sandalwood. You know, those of you guys that have been on the channel for a while now, you will know that one of my favorite fragrances is going to be Santal Blanc by Van Cleef. Right? I don't have that on me right now, but what's going on? Do I play Fortnite? Never played it before. But I've seen that it's evolved. But sandalwood. When sandalwood is done poorly, I think it smells like pickle juice. I think that's where, what's going on, Jeremiah? What's going on? How you been? How you feeling? You know, so when you have a scratchy fragrance, or a fragrance that smells kind of off, like I said, pickly, sandalwood smells like pickles, right? Or it can smell like cedar, right? But it's good to know. Good to know. It can smell like cedar, but when it's done right, it just smells really creamy. It smells really smooth. It smells very uh uh premium. It blends very well. I think you can add it with most other types of fragrances. I'm sorry, most other types of notes. I think it kind of just fits in. I don't know of any high quality fragrance that purposely smells harsh, right? Hi. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Do I play GTA? I used to back in the day. GTA is, I can't wait for the next one to come out, but I haven't played it in a while. But yeah, so sandalwood, iris, I think those are amazing notes. Another note that I really like, it's gonna have to be rose. You know me, I love Turkish rose. I think it's a fragrance that um it's hard to describe because it just smells like what it is. You know, most, I don't know, there's a dryness to Turkish rose. Happy birthday, Andy. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. How old are you turning? Happy birthday, Andy. Um, Most fragrances, we're talking about Turkish rose, right? Turkish rose has a dryness to, he's turning 12. Welcome to the, what do they call it? It's like the you know, life is in 20, is in groups of 12, right? So 12, 24, you know, 36, you know, so you're in that first quadrant. So welcome. Um, but yeah, Turkish rose has a real dryness to it. And I think it just makes it universal, but it also blends itself to being slightly outside of what you would typically call like a flowery fragrance, if that makes sense. I think that when you do look at Turkish rose, again, it just gives it this unique like rose aspect that you don't really get in other rose fragrances. I think the only other one that really stuck out as something that was amazing to me was white rose. I can't remember what fragrance had that, but white rose smelled absolutely amazing. So welcome, guys. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the likes. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the next question. And these are, you know, from my perspective, like where I'm at with these and what I think about a lot of these things. The next question is gonna be, would you prefer one original or 5 dupes? Now I really had to think about this question from a lot of standpoints, right? And dupes traditionally are a lot cheaper, right? Like, I mean, I know Superleggera is back, which is amazing. I think this came in at a higher price point, and a lot of people kind of complained about it. But the minute it was gone, everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's gone!" You know. So there's that, right? I don't have any dupes on me, unfortunately, but I think it becomes a question of value for the individual, um, and for me personally, I don't know of 5 dupes. I don't know of a combination of 5 dupes that smell as good as like a number 1 fragrance for me, or a top 5 fragrance, right? I'd much rather spend 3, 4 times the money and get a fragrance that I absolutely adore and love and want to wear all the time than 5 fragrances that, let's be honest here, guys, like there's a notion that dupes are close to the original. I would say that that's true for maybe 10% of dupes, maybe, and that's a stretch. Typically, dupes are losing the appeal of the main fragrance. What does that mean, right? So a dupe will have 80%, 90% of what a traditional like manufacturer or niche fragrance will have, but it'll be missing the je ne sais quoi. It'll be missing the actual part of the fragrance that is alluring. Shout out to Allure. It's actually missing that concept. And that's the part of dupes I just don't understand. Like I just don't. That's the part. I just don't get. It's like people want to smell good for other people, and to an extent, I can get that because you don't want to stink in front of other people. So why wouldn't you want the inverse of that, right? It's essentially what that is. But I just don't understand the aspect of buying 80% of a fragrance or 90% of a fragrance and leaving the best part out, right? That's like having a healthy nutrition plan and acing it. And on Fridays, you get maybe a cheat meal or whatever and completely skipping your cheat meal. It's like you've worked hard for that cheat meal. Now, if you're on a diet or whatever, it's a different conversation. But if you are doing everything you're supposed to do and you can have a cheat meal, why put yourself through that? Like, just enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? And I think the fruits of the labor of a fragrance, when you do spend the money, is the enjoyment of it, like actually enjoying wearing it, like the actual enjoyment and knowing that you've connected with somebody, right? And if not anybody, a lot of people want compliments, but you're connecting with the perfumer's story, what the perfumer is providing, the value in that. I think that that is a very valuable aspect. Excuse me. All right. So we talked about what notes seem luxurious. We've talked about one original versus 5 dupes. We're gonna keep on pushing here. Have you ever panic bought a fragrance because you knew it was going out of print or not being manufactured? The answer to that question for me is yes. That is yes. And if you're smart, I think you'll get on that because whenever they bring fragrances back, they typically don't smell the same. Now, with that being said, I did not panic buy Allure. I'm a big fan of Chanel. I think they make amazing top tier fragrances. Fragrance is much more than just the smell, it's also the experience. And I think these are top down amazing, right? But fragrances go out of print all the time. All the time. As far as when fragrances, let's say, you know, a certain type of note or aroma chemical is no longer able to be created. What happens when you take that out and you got to substitute it for something else? Oftentimes fragrances lose that appeal. They lose the thing that made them so special. And so from a consumer standpoint, man, this is good. From a consumer standpoint, I think that it's far more worth it to spend the extra money and get it and know that you have the version you want than to know that it's about to change and then to buy it afterwards, or if it does get discontinued, to try to get it in the aftermarket, because you will always pay more the longer you wait. Yeah, with fragrances, especially now that they're starting to become collector's items. If you don't get it from the retailer or from the manufacturer, oftentimes when it does get out that it is the bee's knees, you will pay a premium for that because you were being because you were being cheap. Because you were being cheap, and oftentimes when you try to save, that's when you start spending the most. So I think that if you have a chance to buy, for instance, right, like I hear in the grapevine that Dolce and Gabbana the One is about to be reformulated, and the EDP. No, I think it's the Toilette. I think the Toilette is getting reformulated, or whatever. The point is, there's a lot of those out there, right? But if you can get it right now, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. It is what it is. But if you can get the fragrance, pick up the fragrance. Because more than likely, once it's out of print, you're gonna go run into it, and somebody is already gonna have it. It's gonna be packaged well. It's gonna be exactly what you want, but you are going to have to pay 50 to 100% more. Look at the Dolce & Gabbana Luminous. Is it Luminous Night? Midnight Luminous Night. There's some offshoot versions of the one, and those are very expensive if you try to capture those. Now I hear they're worth it. People love those fragrances, but you pay a hefty premium to get them. And then it's just like, I don't want to spend that. I'm really curious to see what these were going for when it got discontinued. It was, I don't know if you call it a discontinue because it definitely was a limited run. This is bottle 302. Man, whoever has bottle 100, bottle 1, that's probably worth a lot of money. It's probably worth a lot of money. All right, so we're gonna keep moving on. We're gonna keep going into the next topic here. Signature scents versus compliment getters. Where do you guys sit on the fence of this one? Huh? Where do you guys sit? Compliment getters versus signature scents. Let me give you a chance to put your comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys thinking. Where do you guys sit? Signature scents or compliment getters? All right, so here's the deal, right? A compliment getter, just for anybody who doesn't know, is a fragrance that you apply and people like seek you out to tell you that you smell good. It is a very, very sought after feature for a fragrance. A signature scent is something that that you either A, identify with, or B, nobody else can get their hands on, right? So, you know, people call that gatekeeping. They'll what's going on there? 3 Trick Kings? He says, dude, I subbed. Can you say grenade 10 times as fast as you can? We'll get to that at the end of the stream. If you are on the fence between compliment getters and signature scents, the question then becomes, what is of more value to you? Because a compliment getter could be a fragrance like Aventus Creed, right? Which everybody has, everybody knows, everybody loves. Or like a signature scent would be something that nobody's ever smelled, right? And when I say nobody, I mean anybody outside the fragrance community, which is like 98% of people, by the way. They won't know what it is that, you know, you smell like, but it'd be like, oh my gosh, you smell so good. My opinion on this is I think you need a ratio, right? I think you need a ratio. So what would the ratio be? I would say for every 5 compliment getters, you probably need 1 signature scent. That signature scent is probably going to come at some type of a premium, just because of the compounds, and what makes it unique is going to be why you're paying more for it. But whenever you're headed to some type of, I don't know, maybe you're going to a wedding, or some type of graduation or promotion or anything like that, you break out the signature scent. The signature scent is going to be the fragrance that just rises above all the compliment getters. It's going to be the fragrance that distinguishes you from other people. You know, I'm thinking about doing another segment on the channel, and I'm not going to get too deep into it. But you don't want to wear a popular fragrance on your day. That doesn't make any sense. Like, that doesn't make, and I see people doing that. A lot of people are wearing the top 5 fragrances on the most important days of their life. And it's just like, you're literally going to show up smelling just like somebody else. And I don't really value compliment getters. I mean, I said 5 to 1, right? But that's just because I think your signature scent should be sacred to you. You know, it needs to be something that you are, it needs to be that fragrance that, like, you step into the best part of yourself when you're applying it. Now, generally, you should always be doing that. But, when you do have that signature scent, you're always going to walk a little bit taller. You're always going to be just a little bit more proud. Your chest is always going to be a little bit, more fully loaded. And so that's the ratio. 4 to 1, 5 to 1. And also a signature scent is, they're not easy to find. It takes work to find a signature scent. That's why people call it start gatekeeping. It takes work to develop your palate and to know how a fragrance is distinguished, right? Because, like, if you give somebody who doesn't know anything about fragrances, if you give them like Creed, Aventus, and then the dupe, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to tell a difference, right? Very unlikely. However, if you give somebody who, signature scent is Creed Aventus and they love that smell, and then you give them a dupe, they're probably going to be able to tell the difference, right? And so that's something to keep in mind. That's something to keep at the forefront of your mind. But having said all that, yeah, I'm personally, I mean, I don't even know if you need 5 compliment getters for every one signature. I would just say that would be the ratio. But your compliment getter could be, you know, your gym bag, your, you know, it doesn't have to necessarily be like your most premium thing. Um, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and keep it moving, keep it pushing. How you guys feel about the live stream? Got 50 people in the chat. 50 people, 50 people. Do me a favor, type your favorite note in the chat. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know what you guys like. We're gonna keep it pushing though. How do you access higher, more mature fragrances without smelling old? Right? It's an interesting subject matter, because if you wear a fragrance that is 10 years your senior, right, and that compresses even more the younger you are, right? So if you're young, let's say you're 15, and you wear like a, you know, a 20-year-old type of fragrance, it's going to be more extreme than it would be if you were, you know, 25 and you wore a 20-year-old, like a 20-year-old's fragrance. Does that make sense? Or 30 for that matter. I think the best thing to do is to stay in alignment with your palette, like what you seek value in, what you appreciate. I think that's the best way to stay in your realm. I think when you let other people think for you, that's how you'll end up in there, right? So what does that mean? When you are on your journey, right? I've been wearing fragrances for a long time, guys. A long time. I love fragrances. Like I started when I was like 13. Um, you'll only be privy to the things that are in your circle, right? So when you're first starting off, you're not going to have access to Creed Aventus, like if between 10 and 20. You're not going to have access to that unless your dad has it. But even then, right? Like as a child, you play with childish things. And I think that that's also a guardrail to keep you from wearing something too mature, right? And looking and smelling ridiculous. Stick with things that you actually like. Don't try to be something that you're not. I think that when you end up in fragrances that don't represent you well, I think it's because you're wearing it for the wrong reason. And I think that's just a cycle of life. I think that's just a cycle of life. Now, when you get older, you could always have fragrances that you reminisce on. You can always have fragrances that nostalgia. That's what I'm looking for. You can always have fragrances like that, but nostalgia only works backwards. And at that point, you'll have a collection. So I think that that's the best way to fight that. Yeah. Absolutely. So, we're going to shift gears here a little bit, and we're going to talk about my fragrance of the day. Fragrance of the day. It's not this. We'll come back to this. Today, I'm rocking Nishane. Nishane African Oliphant. I just wanted to get back in touch with it. I haven't spent that much time with it, which is weird because it's the winter and this is perfect for this, especially all these blizzards. Maybe that's it. We've had all these snow days and stuff. But I was wearing this, man, and it's about 25 degrees outside. And I was wearing this, man, and it was You know, I come to the realization when I was wearing this today that there's a flip side to wearing fragrances in the heat that are too strong and like they'll project even more. Excuse me. That's true, right? And we all know that. Nobody's arguing that. And we all know that fragrances cut through the air in the winter, like stronger ones, you know. I'm not gonna spray too much, but we all know that they cut through the air. But the ease of which it cuts through the air is really what makes it interesting. It's really what makes things interesting. I was in the car, man, and it was just so performant. And I was surprised. I was like, man, like this fragrance is it's doing so much heavy lifting. It's doing so much of the heavy lifting. Yeah, man. Yeah. So I think that this is something that I don't think that's something that's talked about a whole lot. Like it's more so just a fragrance that yes, it pushes in the winter, but it's how easily it pushes through the winter. Like it doesn't have to do you don't have to do any work. It's pretty insane. But anyway, so this is the fragrance of the day. We'll see how long this lasts. I think you get about 4 or 5, 6 hours, something like that. I do have to go to the mall today, so I'm wondering if it's gonna like last me through that. But we'll circle back and we'll get into that if that is if that is a thing that actually happens. But yeah, um, shifting gears a little bit once again. Super Legera is back, guys. I'm really curious as to like the marketing decision on this. Like, why did they bring this back? Because it wasn't a fragrance that was received well. Personally, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was like, why people are crazy for not liking this fragrance. But and I could be wrong on this. It didn't seem like it got a whole lot of love. It didn't seem like it got the love it deserved, in my opinion. So I'm just curious as to like why they brought it back. I'm glad they did. I'll probably go pick up another bottle. As you can see, I'm halfway through mine, or I would say it's probably like 60% left. So I'm about 40% of the way done. You do have to apply this pretty liberally, and the atomizer is ridiculous. Like check this out. Big atomizer. So a lot comes out. This is a magical fragrance, guys. I don't know if it's going to be another temporary run or if they're going to run this like, you know, like how they ran it before. Are they going to bring it and then cut it off again, or are they just bringing it back permanently? But yeah, no, this is a very, very good look for anybody who missed out on the first shot. I say if you can get it, go buy it, man. This is the perfect summertime, summertime gym fragrance. I love this. Because it was limited, I didn't wear it in the gym. But now that it is more widely available, I'm probably gonna purchase another bottle. I do want to see how similar they are. I'm wondering if they changed anything, because most people wouldn't know, right? So I'm wondering if they changed anything. Few people have actually had a chance to smell this, so I'm wondering, is it back at the same price point? Is it the exact same smell? I can't imagine it changed too much. I think it came out last year, right? 2023, 2024. It is 2026. So I'm thinking it came out in 2025. No, I'm pretty sure I reviewed it in 24. So that's about 20% a year, right? So by that logic, I got, what, 3 years left? And it's all gone? So I love this. I'm glad they brought it back. I'm hoping that it sticks around. But like I said, I will be getting another bottle. Yeah, this was definitely special. They knew this was going to last. I don't believe that they thought, no one's going to buy this. It's amazing. But again, like it didn't get a whole lot of love. A lot of people were disappointed. People were talking about like how they waited so long, and you know, it was like, oh, you know, this fragrance is not all that unique. It's not that different. It's, you know, and like, I think what it was like people wanted a brand new line from Chanel. And, you know, this isn't a new line. I mean, it smells amazing. I think this is the best out of the Allure Homme Sports that I have and that I have smelled. But it's not like a completely different thing. And I think that's what people were looking for. But personally, I really love this. So, we're going to get into one more topic. And for me personally, I think the topic is important. We're going to be talking about rolls, guys. Rolls. Okay. What do you mean by rolls, Brandon? What are you talking about? Rolls. Talking about bread rolls? Talking about Rolls Royce? What are you talking about there? Rolls. What's going on with this thing? Rolls. So when I say rolls, I'm talking about fragrances that excuse me. Fragrances that serve a purpose in your collection. Now, these are very different fragrances, okay? These are very different fragrances. Instead of worrying about compliment getters, instead of worrying about signature scents, signature scent is always something that's going to be in the back of your mind. You always come back to it. But instead of worrying about those things, you should be focused on your palate. You should be focused on developing your nose for smells. That's what you need to be focused on. Ultimately, when you develop your palate, your ability to get compliment getters, signature scents, you know, panty dropper fragrances, or however you want to term it, improves. But you have to do the work. And I think that's the thing. People don't want to do the work. They just want to throw on a video and like, hey, this person is saying this fragrance smells good. Okay, all the work's done. I just got to go buy it, right? I think that's a lot of what's going on in the world in general. Like, people are getting sexy, bad information. And they're not getting the results that they want. Right? It's even in the fitness community. We're not going to get too deep into that, but a lot of misconceptions. But rolls. Let's get back to rolls. Focus. Rolls. So you need a fragrance that knows how to play its role, right? 3 fragrances. You need something that you can wear to work, right? Here's the key aspect of this. It can't be offensive. It has to be a mass appealing fragrance. It has to be a fragrance that everybody likes. You don't want that fragrance that is just like, oh gosh, like who is wearing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want that type of fragrance. A good manufacturer for that is somebody like Chanel. They make mass appealing fragrances that people love. Check those out. Right? We're going to keep this simple. We're going to do 3 rolls today. I mean, I have way more than that, but we're just going to do 3. The next one is going to be weekends. Leisurely. Fragrances that you can put on, but you don't necessarily want to... You are seeking more of the gratitude of others, right? And this is that realm of compliment getting and stuff like that. A fragrance that you can wear on your free time that isn't necessarily suit and tie, button up, or heavily favored, but it's a fragrance that is a little bit more risque and that you enjoy a little bit more. You'll probably wear that fragrance, I don't know, maybe 30% of the time, right? So, oh gosh, math with Brandon. You'll wear your work scent probably 60% of the time, right? You'll wear your leisurely fragrance, 20, 25% of the time. And then your signature scent, i.e. date night, that's going to be the fragrance that you wear, for special occasions, special events and stuff like that, right? Now, if you're working an event, wear your work fragrance, right? For all you gig economy guys out there, it's not the time to bring out your sexy fragrance. You know, wear your work fragrance. And that's all you need. You got something for all branches, right? You have your sexy signature. This is me. You have your leisurely. Don't necessarily want to bring out my expensive stuff, but I want to smell good and I want to be able to wear this in most places. But I do want to smell a little different. That's gonna be your weekend fragrance, and then your work fragrance. This is the one you're gonna get the most heavy lifting out of. So for example, right, like this would be your work fragrance, and it would also qualify for weekend fragrance too, because it is special. And then this would be your date night fragrance, so to speak. I wouldn't necessarily wear this, but just understand that it's definitely an acquired taste, right? So keep that in mind. But that's it. That's it. That's all you need. Like, don't overthink it, guys. Like, a lot of people overthink their fragrances. They can start talking about, maceration and putting fragrances in the freezer and there's some crazy stuff out there. There's some crazy stuff out there, guys. Like, I mean, I don't know where this stuff is coming from. But again, it kind of goes to what I was saying, like with bad information. There's a lot of bad information out there, and people eat it up. They absolutely eat it up. So I don't know. I don't think you need all that. Or I know you don't need all that. Start with the basics and build over time. Like, create a palette for yourself so that way you don't have 50, 60 bottles that you don't like. It's very hard to get rid of fragrances, guys. You're not gonna. I shouldn't say hard, because you could just throw it away. But it's hard parting with them because of the initial investment. And that's why people like dupes. And, to an extent, I can understand that. But then you're just buying a crappier version of something that you would otherwise like or not like. So why not just get a sample, a decant, of the actual thing as an entry? And then on top of that, usually when you buy a sample or decant, it'll provide you like 10 other versions, right? 10 other samples, 10 other decants that you could get. And then develop your palette. See how it all works together? It all comes together. I think ultimately that's good for the community. And also it helps, get rid of a lot of the bad information that is out there. So that is it. That is all. Let me know what you guys think of this live stream. How you feeling about it? What do you think? What you got going on? What you think? How you like it? I'm really liking being able to interact with you guys, talk to you guys, and share my thoughts with you all. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. This is a very fun aspect of it. It's very dynamic. I get to speak with you guys one-on-one in real time. A lot of the videos and stuff that I create, they're typically, I shoot them alone, I edit them alone. But here, it's like an aspect that we both get to work together. And I really, really enjoy that. So, like I said, let me know what you guys think of the live stream. If you're catching this on the replay, let me know what you think. What are some more features or some things that you'd like to add to the channel so that you can see and enjoy? But that's about it. Hit the like on the way out. I appreciate you guys so much. I think that we're going to have a lot of new things coming this way on the channel. I'm pressing buttons on screwing stuff up. Look at that. We got so many features and stuff. Whoa, that's nuts. So, but yeah, look at that. Yeah, YouTube, I'm live, baby. Your YouTube awards. Some of this stuff is kind of crazy. Oh, I see. Anyway, messing around with stuff. How do I get out of this? There we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tuesdays and Thursdays mornings, we're live, baby. A lot more coming to the channel. I'm still gonna continue doing uploading. The floor, my renovations are about done, so I can get back to doing my regular reviews, which I look forward to. I'm traveling out of town, so you might see some unique people on the show, some different people on the show. You might also see some new scenery, right? It's supposed to be vacation, but I'm always like working. I can never turn off that part of my mind, so I get there and people are like, hey, like, aren't you supposed to be chilling? I can't help it. I love this much. I love this stuff so much. But that's it, guys. I know I said that like 5 times. I just hate saying goodbye. But thanks for watching. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.